Hello, Ami. Welcome back to another Taekook one shot. This is a little space one shot, but it is going to be a bit harsh, and I will warn you if you are sensitive with bully topic and self harm and torture and all. So please don't read it, okay? Don't you get it? You fat piece of trash. Justin did find him in her yelled and landed another kick in the stomach of quiet boy. Taehyung didn't say anything anymore. He was used to this since the bullying started over more than a year ago. He didn't know why, but it started to escalate way too fast. The first month they threatened Taehyung and started to steal his money, but next month they started to slap him or push him around, and then they began to beat him up. At the beginning, it was only Minho, Hunjin, and Jiwon. 9 months ago, Jungkook moved to Seoul and became friend way too fast with Minho and the rest of the gang. Well, Jungkook didn't beat Taehyung or worse, but he also didn't stop his friends from bullying Taehyung. They took Taehyung once with them to beat Taehyung up and to say the frecklet boy liked it was an understatement for Taehyung. The three boy was regularly beat the poor boy up, and it seems like they would never stop. And Jungkook was just watching it, standing there. Taehyung was already questioning the behavior of the boy, but they didn't dare to speak up, afraid to get beat up more. I don't understand why your fat pump is still alive, but I hope that it wouldn't be much longer. Hyunjin growled and kicked the arm in front of him. Taehyung winced and closed his eyes, hoping they would stop soon. But Taehyung missed it. Jiwon knelt down in front of Tae and grabbed his wrist, pulling his hoodie up and revealing the arm that was full of cuts. A creepy smile plastered on the young boy's face. Oh, looks like our little baby, our little boy already tries but can't because he's such a freak. He mocked and took a closer look on Taehyung's arm. Suddenly he began to scratch the cuts again. Since they were very fresh, they opened easily and red began oozing out. I hope you die from blood loss, Jiwon whispered and let go of Taehyung. Let's go now. We have football training in a half hour, Angie said, and already turning around. You all can go already. I need to go to the washroom. I will catch up, Jungkook said and went to in the in other direction. The others, the group, just walk off, not caring a bit about the boy behind them. When they were finally out of the eyesight, Jungkook turned around and walked back to Taehyung. Taehyung thought Jungkook will also beat him now, or why else Jungkook would come back here. Taehyung just closed his eyes and waited for first punch, but it never came. Taehyung only heard a zipper open and his stomach turned upside down in fear. He opened his eyes, looking, knowing that Jungkook was stood in front of him, but the bunny beauty wasn't. The boy was kneeling in a bit away from Taehyung, taking various things out of the bag. I'm sorry, Taehyung, but I can't stop them, he whispered and came closer to the older. Taehyung only shook his head but kept quiet. I don't want you to accept my apology now, but I want you to know that I'm very sorry for everything I did and said to you. Hey, Taehyung was confused. Why the perfect face boy talking to a piece of trash like him? Why didn't he yell at him or told him to kill himself? As Jungkook came even closer and touched Taehyung's arm, Taehyung flinched and pulled his arm away. Please, I don't want you to die, and you will if I don't clean the wounds and stop the bleeding, Jungkook said. now in a harsher tone. Taehyung looked at him with fear in his eyes and shook his head. "Let me help you when I can, Taehyung," Tae hissed when Jungkook grabbed his arm again. Taehyung gave up on his protest. He felt numb. Tae didn't even feel much pain when he cut himself, so he always tried to cut deeper, but it didn't help him. The amount of painkillers he was taking on was insane and made his body feel nothing. When he was beaten up again, after 10 minutes, Jungkook was finished with cleaning and cuts and he started to put the bandage around it. It was frustrating him that Minho and his other friends wouldn't stop beating Taehyung up since they were really nice to Jungkook and care for him. Pretty much he was still friends with them. Somehow looking up to Min Hanji's knowledge, Jiwon's boldness and Minho's trained body, but he didn't want to become a monster like them. "Should I help you to go home?" Jungkook asked and helped him stand up. The older shook his head and pulled his arm harshly away from the bunny boy. The boy was sad, but Jungkook knew that this would be the best reaction he would get now. Jungkook looked after Taehyung, who was trying to walk home, but it was hurting him on every step. Once Taehyung was home again, he let his school bag fall down and slipped out of his shoes. When Tae came to his room, he got his cute sweater out of the back of the closet and pulled it on. He loved it when Tae could wear his favorite sweater. Before Tae stopped it, he let himself sleep completely. Tae hurt again. Taehyung talked to himself that was only time a day he used his voice. It was harsher and cracker very often. Angel had Taehyung bubbled and remembered Jungkook's perfect face in front of his face. Taehyung remembered how softly the younger touched his arm and cleaned his cut. With a smile on his face, Tae waddled to the bathroom and cleaned himself a bit up. Then he played a bit and with his toys and colored in his color book. They loved the silence around him. No annoying student that gave him a weird look and bullies that beat him. Nearly ready for hospital every day. But they missed the sound of his parents' voice. 3 years ago, his parents died in a car crash and left him alone in this world. That's when Taehyung became a little. They could feel closer to his parents since they always played with him when he was still a child. Now he tried to survive with a job as a producer when he writes some lyrics for brands that requested it. They had rarely someone to ask him, but when they did, they have very good money and he could survive few months with that money. His parents also left behind some money and other things, but they couldn't get them since he wasn't an adult yet. But since he brought very few amount of food, sometimes went a day without food, he had enough money for himself to survive. Taehyung also met his old friends Jimin, Jin, Yoongi, Hobi and Namjoon. Since his parents died, he needed to move into a cheaper apartment and also to another school so that he can manage his budget. The school was so close to his cheap apartment, but they always stayed in touch and sometimes his friends helped Taehyung in writing lyrics. But after a year, Taehyung lost his phone and couldn't contact his friends anymore. Taehyung tried to make them come to their old house, but it was abandoned. He didn't know why the five didn't tell him that they moved, but it hurts him so much, nearly more than his parents did. For 2 weeks, it continued with Minho and the other beating Taehyung up and Jungkook taking care of his wants. The two faces of Jungkook started to annoy Taehyung more and more. Taehyung already failed the first day for the friendly side of Jungkook, and his little side also adored the boy. But when it came to Minho, Hanji, and Jiwon, Jungkook would stick to the rest of the group, and again Taehyung was beat up by the group again. Jungkook was leaning on the door frame of the classroom. Taehyung was dragged in and didn't mind Taehyung being beaten up again. Yeah, Cook, don't you want to join the fun? Jiwon asked. The boy already noticed Jungkook's behavior. The bunny boy never touched Taehyung and often stayed behind. No, why should I make my hands dirty? Jungkook asked and looked back at phone. They ignored Jungkook and Minho smirked and hit Taehyung in his face. Let's see how the freaking arm is doing, Jiwon said and pulled the sleeve down, but to their surprise, the cuts were nearly completely healed. Oh, did you stop it? I thought we clearly told you to kill yourself. Jiwon held out Taehyung's hand to Minho, who pulled a pocket weapon out of his backpack and handed it to Jiwon. Then I will make this a lot easier for everyone. Jiwon dragged the object across the soft skin of Tae and pressed it down. Red started to come out and Taehyung was on the verge of tear again. Not because of the pain, because Jungkook wasn't doing anything to help him. Jungkook had a worried look on his face, but that didn't stop the trio from hurting Taehyung. Taehyung's arm was covered again in cuts. They felt how the huge red liquid loss affected him, but he couldn't do anything against Yuan. Guys, I think a teacher will come soon, Jungkook suddenly said and looked out of the classroom. Minho and Hanji went already out, but Jiwon was still with Taehyung. He pressed the object on the wrist of the boy and easily cut through the vein. Taehyung yelped in pain and Jungkook froze in place. When Jungkook ran out, Jiwon left to throwing the object in the dustbin. Taehyung tried to get out a bandage out of his backpack but failed since he couldn't move his arm a bit. He felt exhausted and wanted to just close his eyes and sleep. We continue. So everyone, it is a short story. So there is going to be another episode of this story, and that will be released tomorrow. So wait for that, and whatever you feel about the story, tell me in the comment section. See you again. Bye. Bye.